Are you taking the time to review your financial statements each month? Do you understand what your financial statements are telling you about your business? Most people will look at their balance sheet and income statement when they're reviewing their financial statements. But today, I'm going to talk about another report that you should be looking at least on a monthly basis as well. This report is your General Ledger Detail Report. If you're using QuickBooks, Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, or another computerized software system for your bookkeeping, you can quickly generate this report and make reviewing it part of your monthly financial statement review. In this episode, I'm going over what this report tells you, as well as why you should review it to ensure your financial statements are correct. If you do your bookkeeping manually, or you use a spreadsheet such as Excel, I'll also be giving some tips on what you can do to review this same type of information so that you can feel good about your financial information. Whether you're just getting ready to start your small business, you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, small business owner, virtual online bookkeeper, or virtual assistant, reviewing your General Ledger Detail Report will give you the confidence that your financial statements are accurate and you can rely on them to make sound business decisions throughout the year. Listen in and make sure you add reviewing this report to your bookkeeping tasks each month. It doesn't take a lot of time to review, and you might be surprised at how easy it is to spot and fix any bookkeeping mistakes. You're listening to the Mastering Your Small Business Finances podcast, where we get straight to the point on topics that ultimately affect your bottom line. That's right, as an entrepreneur with a small business, money management, growth, marketing, they all affect your bottom line. I'm your host, Chris Ponick. I'm a certified public accountant, and I've been helping small business owners like you navigate and easily understand these complicated topics for over 25 years. I'm a wife, a mom, a grandmother, and a small business owner myself, so I know your time is valuable. In my free time, I make the best sugar cookies and have mastered an amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe. And that's not just my opinion. You're in the right place. I promise your time will be well spent here. Each week, you'll gain confidence and clarity while making a successful impact on your business and grow your bottom line. Get comfy, grab a cookie, and let's get straight to the point with this week's episode. Are you looking for a computerized software solution to do your bookkeeping? I highly recommend checking out QuickBooks Online. I've been using QuickBooks myself for over 20 years, and they really know how to streamline processes and make your bookkeeping and recording your transactions simple and easy. QuickBooks is one of the top software solutions used by small business owners, and I would say that over 95% of my clients are currently using QuickBooks for their businesses. One of the features most of my clients and I take advantage of is the option to set up bank feeds. You simply link your bank account to your QuickBooks account, and QuickBooks will automatically import each transaction into your QuickBooks file. You'll save a ton of time not having to manually enter each of these transactions. You simply review each of the transactions and make sure they're getting recorded to the appropriate account, and then click one button and they're in. Want to know more? Head over to financialadventure.com/QuickBooks and learn how you can save 50% off of your first 3 months. Welcome back. I know keeping up on your bookkeeping can be hard. It takes time and dedication to ensure that you're up to date. Believe me, you don't want to fall behind in this area. It only makes catching up harder, so please make sure that you're doing your bookkeeping on at least a monthly basis. Today, I'm going to talk about another task you should be doing on a monthly basis for your bookkeeping. I know your time is valuable, and you can trust me that I wouldn't recommend you do something that would not be worthwhile to you or your business. Reviewing your General Ledger Detail Report can help you spot any bookkeeping mistakes quickly, and you can fix them easily on the spot while you're reviewing the report. Whether you're using QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, or another computerized bookkeeping software, You should be able to pull up a general ledger detail report and follow the same steps I talk about in this episode, although each system may be a little bit different. Since I know most of you are using QuickBooks, I'll reference that software throughout this episode. First, let's cover what this general ledger detail report is all about. The general ledger detail report is a report that lists all the details of each account, including its beginning balance, ending balance, and all the transactions that have taken place going in and out of each account during the reference time frame. The report includes all of the accounts from your chart of accounts, and it arranges them in the same order that they're reflected on your balance sheet and your income statement. When you run this report, you're able to look at all the details for each account to make sure that everything has been recorded correctly. It's important to look at the details in each and every account to ensure accuracy. Before the computerized bookkeeping systems evolved, when you were recording your bookkeeping transactions, you needed to record each transaction in a ledger or a journal. This would be your general ledger and would also include other journals such as your accounts receivable and accounts payable. You could review these transactions simply by looking over the ledger or journal, and you would know if everything was in the correct account. Now that we have computerized software systems for bookkeeping, it's even more important to keep reviewing this information to ensure that your accounts list the correct transactions. The computerized bookkeeping systems are still utilizing the same double-entry bookkeeping systems as the manual bookkeeping systems, but many of the transactions are recorded behind the scenes. The double-entry bookkeeping system just keeps everything in balance. So I could bore you with all the details about debits and credits and how your assets must equal your liabilities and equity, but I want to make sure you keep listening to this podcast, so I'll keep it nice and simple. This report will help you to see exactly where each side of the double-entry bookkeeping entries are recorded in an easy-to-read format. One of the reasons I believe this report is so important is because of the increased automations in recording bookkeeping transactions. When you have rules set up or you have a transaction that's automatically posting into your bookkeeping software, you may not realize where these transactions are being recorded at the time that they are recorded. By utilizing the General Ledger Detail Report, you can easily scan each account and check it for accuracy. You'll want to generate your report for a specific time period. If you're doing your bookkeeping monthly, I would recommend running the report with the same dates as your financials when you're reviewing everything at the end of the month. Then, starting at the top of the report, you're going to see your assets, then your liabilities, and your equity sections. Next, you'll see your income and your expense accounts. You'll want to review each of these accounts to make sure that each transaction that's listed is indeed in the correct account or location. Let's take, for example, you have an advertising account set up in your chart of accounts. When you look over your General Ledger Detail Report, you may see that your utility payment was accidentally coded to this advertising account. If you are viewing this report on your computer, with many bookkeeping software systems, you can simply click on that transaction, go to the original transaction, and change the account from advertising to the correct utilities account. Once you've reviewed the full report and you're confident that each transaction is in the correct account, you know you can rely on your financial statements for that time frame to be correct. This report is also helpful when you want to know exactly what's making up a certain dollar amount on your balance sheet and income statement. Say, for instance, you're looking at your office expense account and you feel that it's higher than it should be. You can pull up your General Ledger Detail Report for that period of time to see what's making up the total amount in your office expenses. If you see a transaction that should be recorded in a different account, you can easily reclassify that transaction. This report can also help you when you're creating a budget. If you're looking at your actual numbers when you're creating your new budget, you could look at the General Ledger Detail Report to see if you had any unusual transactions that you would not expect to see in this new budget time frame. It would also help you to see if you need to add any additional amounts for expenses that you haven't had in the past, but you will be incurring in the future. If you're doing your bookkeeping manually, just like I mentioned earlier, how bookkeeping was done prior to computerized bookkeeping systems, you'll want to review each of your transactions that you are recording manually. If you're recording all of your transactions in a journal, ledger, or even a spreadsheet, just make sure that each category or account that you've entered the transactions into has the correct transactions. If you find an error, make sure that you reclassify that transaction to the correct account. Overall, the General Ledger Detail Report is a good report for you to review on a monthly basis, as well as utilize when you feel that something may be off in your financial statements. Don't be afraid to review this report often. Get familiar with it, and you will soon be able to review it quickly each month so that you can feel confident that your financials are accurate. If you feel that you need help with your bookkeeping, just let me know. When you have a bookkeeper helping you with your bookkeeping, all you need to do is provide your bookkeeper with your bank and credit card statements, as well as any other data they would need to help keep your books up to date. This can all be done virtually, so you don't need to worry about them coming into your office. Most bookkeepers have their own software, which can actually save you the cost of having to purchase the software on your own. But if you are already using an online bookkeeping system, you'll just need to grant them access to be able to pick up where you left off. If you're considering outsourcing your bookkeeping, it can actually be as affordable as $97 per month, depending on the number of transactions that you have. I want you to know that I'm here for you if you ever have questions, need help with your bookkeeping, or if you would like more information about how much it would cost to have your bookkeeping done for you. You can contact me by going to financialadventure.com/contact-us. I'll post a link where you're listening to this podcast so that you can easily contact me. And don't forget to grab your copy of the 5 Essentials for Stress-Free Bookkeeping. This guide is helpful whether you're doing your own bookkeeping for your business or if you're doing bookkeeping for multiple businesses by covering the 5 essentials every business needs to do to have stress-free bookkeeping. Grab your free guide by going to financialadventure.com/5essentials. That's the number 5, ESSENTIALS. And lastly, if you are interested in joining me and thousands of other female entrepreneurs who are focused on having more free time, more margin in your finances, more assurance in yourself and your business decisions, join me at the Money, Faith, and Business virtual event. You can go to financialadventure.com/resources to get more details and register for the event. I'll also post this link in the show notes for you. All right, to recap this episode. Number 1, I know that your time is valuable, and you can trust me that I would not recommend that you do something that would not be worthwhile to you or your business. Reviewing your General Ledger Detail Report can help you spot any bookkeeping mistakes quickly, and you can even fix them easily on the spot while you're reviewing the report. Number 2, whether you're using QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Xero, Wave, FreshBooks, or another computerized bookkeeping software, you should be able to pull up a General Ledger Detail Report. Number 3, the General Ledger Detail Report is a report that lists all the details of each account, including its beginning balance, ending balance, and all the transactions that have taken place and are going in and out of each account during the reference time frame. Number 4, it's important to look at the details in each and every account to ensure accuracy. One of the reasons that I believe this report is so important is because of the increased automations in recording bookkeeping transactions. By utilizing the General Ledger Detail Report, you can easily scan each account and check for accuracy. Number 5, you'll want to generate your report for a specific period of time. Then, starting at the top of the report, you'll see your assets, then your liabilities, and then your equity sections. Next, you'll see your income and your expense accounts. You'll want to review each of these accounts to make sure that each transaction that's listed is indeed the correct account or the location you want it. Number 6, once you have reviewed the full report and you're confident that each transaction is in the correct account, you know that you can rely on your financial statements for that time frame to be correct. Number 7, this report can also help you when you're creating a budget. If you're looking at your actual numbers when you're creating your new budget, you could look at the General Ledger Detail Report to see if you had any unusual transactions that you would not expect to see in this new budget time period. It also will help you decide if there's any additional amounts or expenses that you haven't had in the past but will incur in the future. Number 8, if you're doing your bookkeeping manually, you'll still want to review each of your transactions that you're recording. If you're recording all of your transactions in a journal, ledger, or even a spreadsheet, make sure that each category or account that you have entered transactions into has the correct transactions. Number 9, review this report often. Get familiar with it, and you will soon be able to review it quickly each month so that you can feel confident that your financials are accurate. And you know I'm going to ask, what's at least one thing that you'll take away from this episode that will help your business succeed and grow your bottom line? If you need some accountability, join our private Facebook community and post your action item. We'd love to support you. Thanks for taking the time to tune into this episode of Mastering Your Small Business Finances. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you, I'd love for you to give it a 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Visit financialadventure.com for the show notes, links from this episode, and while you're there, leave a comment if you have a topic you're interested in learning more about that affects your bottom line. If you're looking for a community where you can ask questions and get feedback about your small business, join my private Facebook group. You can find the links to this group and more on financialadventure.com. And remember, any financial information shared on this podcast is not to be considered professional, financial, or tax advice and should not be solely relied upon. Please consult your CPA or tax advisor for an opinion on your specific circumstances. I'm looking forward to having you tune in next time. Until then, dream big, follow your heart, and love what you do.